Hi, my name is Johanne Gilroy and I work as a Partnership Development Manager for Prospect Services Limited, who are the next step contractor for South Yorkshire. I'm going to talk to you about the IAG innovative pilot which I've developed and delivered. The inspiration behind the pilot comes from the long-standing interest which I have in innovation and ICT and my passion for the delivery of high quality IAG for adults. It also comes from looking at ways of making a unique contribution to IAG in a cost-effective way, and a desire to bring about a greater synergy between the telephone-based information advice guidance service provided by Learn Direct and the face-to-face IAG service provided via Next Step, in a way which harnesses the benefit of both services. The overall aim of the pilot is to explore innovative ways of delivering IAG to adults through the use of ICT in the form of broadband, video conferencing and webcam technologies. The objectives of the pilot include providing IAG via webcam to clients, engaging suitable partner organisations, providing these organisations with webcams, providing training to staff in these organisations in the use of webcams and video conferencing, and having ongoing monitoring and evaluation of the pilot through the contributions of clients and partners and advisors through video feedback. Now, in order to get the pilot up and running, I started off delivering a series of presentations to different forums, such as Learn Direct Centre Managers meetings. And from there, there was an expression of interest from a wide range of organisations. Obviously that included Learn Direct Centres, NHS trusts, voluntary and community organisations, voluntary organisations that support people with HIV and AIDS, a very diverse range of organisations and agencies from across South Yorkshire. From there, it was a case of looking at things in more detail and assessing their suitability. So, for example, looking at what technological infrastructure they had in place and whether that would support their participation. And once we'd identified the range of organisations that we're going to engage as pilot partners, it was really a case of providing them with training which I designed on IAG awareness, using video conferencing and using webcam. From the training, we had a period which we set aside for setting up. So I went out to partner organisations, installed the video conferencing software, installed webcams, made sure that it was set up, answered any outstanding queries. And then from there, it was really a case of those partner organisations marketing and promoting the sort of webcam pilot, making referrals to ourselves, and for me to then book those people in for appointments and then provide them with IAG via webcam. The other thing that's been sort of ongoing has been the monitoring and evaluation as we've gone along, which has taken the form of monthly reviews with partners and also regular sort of video feedback from both partner organisations, from advisors delivering IAG, but most crucially from clients receiving the service. And all of those things will eventually contribute to a final overarching report which will look at what worked, what didn't work, making recommendations and the like. Key to engaging partners in the pilot activity was to talk about some of the benefits that they could get out of it. For example, we provided them with a webcam which they could have as a reward, if you like it, or an incentive for their participation. The fact that they would have access via the webcam service to professional IAG for their clients, and that the uniqueness of a webcam IAG service may enhance the range of services that they're able to offer the clients that they work with. And that the fact that because it's an innovative pilot, because it's unusual, it had the potential there to be used as a platform for securing future funding. That said, there were certain conditions that we needed to insist on in terms of partners. So, for example, we're keen to engage with organisations that were technology-led, which had a track record in making use of ICT and supporting clients in making use of ICT. And also crucially, we wanted organisations that had the technological infrastructure in place, broadband, computers with a decent specification, and so on. And also crucially, organisations that had a genuine willingness to want to facilitate a delivery of IAG, albeit through innovative means. The potential, as I see it, for this sort of delivery in practical terms, there are many applications. One that comes to mind, for example, is mock interviews. What we're able to do with this technology is to offer clients the opportunity to undertake a mock interview, which can then be recorded and then played back to that client. It can be recorded onto a CD or a DVD and played back to that client for that client then to be able to review. And then at a later date, once they've kind of reviewed it and they've had a discussion with an advisor about where they did well and where they didn't do so well, they can then have another mock interview and see whether there's been any improvement in their performance. And so from that through that model, if you like, they've got a very tangible sort of documentation of their interview techniques, what works, what doesn't work, areas for improvement, and how they can improve their overall interview technique. And the same goes for things like telephone techniques, which is becoming an increasingly common way of interviewing people, at least at the initial stage. So we can use this technology to improve people's telephone techniques. It also lends itself to things like internet job search or searching and learning opportunities via the internet. Things like CV development and looking at application forms or how people respond to the person spec with application forms. That can be done also in a very interactive and live way. Also things like skills awareness, enabling people to go through things that, such as the skills and interest assessment developed by Advice Resources. It enables people to look at working on that in a much more collaborative way. But the possibilities from a practical IAG delivery point of view are endless. Looking at the potential in terms of the bigger picture, well, one of the things that I'm quite interested in is that I think this type of delivery represents a hybrid of Learn Direct and Next Step IAG services, and it embraces the benefits of both. It's a method of providing quite cost-effective outreach, and I'll explain. Sometimes it can take you half a morning to get to certain parts of South Yorkshire, and even if you get to your outreach post, you can find that you booked in 4 clients and only one turns up. Now, while you're travelling, with the best will in the world, that's relative dead time, and if only one client turns up at the end of it, you can actually find that that's not a very cost-effective and efficient way of delivering your service. And so one of the interesting things about making use of this technology is that it does enable you to provide a kind of virtual outreach service. A webcam can be installed at an outreach location, an advisor can be located in their home office and provide an IAG service without the additional travel cost. There's also an important issue, I think, about accessibility. If we think about the current agenda around pathways to work and about helping people, maybe longer term unemployed people who've been on incapacity benefit, make the transition back into work, there may be some issues around accessibility that the use of the webcam could get round, because potentially, as long as a person has broadband and has a computer with a reasonable specification, there's no reason why they couldn't receive an IAG service from home. The link to that is the idea of providing wraparound IAG. That's something that's been very much highlighted in the recent Leach review, the idea of having wraparound IAG. And the potential with the use of webcam is that you're not restricted to office opening and closing hours. You could potentially provide a 24/7 wraparound IAG service that can be tapped into as and when required. And I think that's critical in respect of two other points that I want to make. One being around the whole notion of charged for services, which is becoming increasingly crucial for consideration in terms of IAG delivery. You're more likely to find that people are willing to provide or willing to pay for IAG if it's delivered in an innovative way and in a way that's accessible to them as and when they require it. And linked to that is also things like train to gain provision. The use of Webcam has some potentials there where it's hard enough, if you like, to sometimes get employers to take on board the idea of IAG, but at least if it's delivered via Webcam, it may be a less intrusive method of providing IAG to employees who are participating in the train to gain programme. And as I mentioned before, I think that this type of technology has the potential to be a mechanism for attracting additional funding, and that's something that I've been able to do myself as a result of the pilot activity. I was able to secure some funding through NIAS, the National Institute for Adult and Continuing Education, to look at innovative ways of delivering e-learning to offenders in the community. However, all of that is just my perspective on the pilot and the potentials for the delivery of IAG via Webcam. As the saying goes, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And so really the remainder of this video is dedicated to hearing from partner organisations, advisors, and most crucially from clients about how they felt about the whole thing.
My name is Ahmed Mahmoud. I am the operations manager for ETL, Employment Training Link Limited. We provide information, advice, guidance, and most recently we set up a training facility where we deliver logistics training, which includes forklift, LGV, PCV, and driving a school. We have been in business for 4 years, roughly.
My name's Judith Tester, and I work for Sheffield Teaching Hospitals, and I work in the training department. And within the training department there is an open learning centre. So I'm responsible for offering advice and guidance to Sheffield Teaching Hospital staff on learning opportunities, anything to do with training, career development. So that's basically what I do. I work as part of a team of, how many other of us? There's 5 of us all together. And we all do pretty much the same role. We're all giving advice and guidance to people about different learning opportunities. But we also support people on courses as well. And we offer a range of courses to do with IT, English and Maths and personal development. And learning, most of the courses are online learning, so it's e-learning courses where people can learn at their own pace.
Hi, my name's Shabana Murtaza. I'm the Client Support Officer at Employment and Training Links. We have been participating in the pilot since June 2006. Prior to the participation, I attended a training programme with prospects to deliver the service.
I've been participating in the pilot since last year. I think it was around about September time, and we were invited, Johanne invited us to a training day where we received training on how to use the webcam. And since then, so we had the training day, and since then we've been offering sessions up until, well, it's been ongoing. I know the pilot was for 3 months, but we've continued then, and we're looking into sort of further support.
We've had a meeting with prospects, and we've been introduced about the pilot. We thought it was very fresh, different idea of delivering advice, information and guidance. So we thought it was something really interesting to get involved.
I would say that the sort of main part of the work that we do is involved, as I was saying before, in e-learning. So it seemed quite a sort of a natural progression to sort of get involved in something like this. You know, it's looking at alternative technologies and new ideas of ways of delivering advice and guidance. So it seemed to fit in really well with the Open Learning Centre work that we do. So I was asked by Jane Burbage if I'd be interested in the pilot, and I thought it sounded interesting, so that's the reason why we went along to the training day.
I think what has worked well in this pilot scheme is the fact that we was allowed to deliver an introduction to the service, which prospects had gave us a CD beforehand for clients to be able to access and see what they're delivering. The clients were able to receive online in-depth independent advice and guidance. They received instant information. A follow-up option was available. There was technical support at hand. There was an advisor at hand, and the use of a private room.
I think it's been good for us as staff, you know, because there was 2 of us that went on the training out of the team, and neither of us had ever used a webcam before. So it enabled us to learn about how to use the webcam and look at the potential, and introduce us obviously to a new way of doing advice and guidance. So it was good from that point of view, and I think it's been good for the staff as well. I mean, a lot of people come to us to learn about computers, so we did get quite a bit of interest from people wanting to know, you know, more about webcams, so we were able to talk to them. And then I think other people who were a bit apprehensive about the technology were able to help them overcome that by showing them, you know, what it's about. So I think it was good from that point of view, but it's opened up the kinds of advice and guidance that we do. We do advice and guidance around training opportunities, learning opportunities, but we've always had people asking us about interview skills, and you know, since sort of talking to yourself, you know, that's being able to look at introducing and offering to people the webcam sessions around interview skills. So I think that's a new area that it's opened up for us.
I think what has not worked well was, although follow-up interviews were accessible, I found that people did not attend the follow-up interviews. I think part of the reason for this was the fact that it was a language barrier, so there was communication problems. If there was bilingual advisors available at hand, that would have probably made it a lot more easier. There were some technical faults which I thought, you know, added to the problem. I think also an eligibility criteria in terms of age, that was a bit of a problem, because you wouldn't, although we had some clients at the age of 16, they weren't allowed to attend the programme. And also prospects asked me a question on feedback. They wanted some of our clients to be able to give feedback through the video conference, and I found a lot of clients didn't really feel comfortable in giving feedback through the video conference.
I think we had initially some problems around trying to get people to do to come for the sessions, because we could only offer it to people who weren't already at level 2. We have a lot of staff in the hospital, you know, nursing or medical staff, who obviously have got professional qualifications. So that was an issue first of all. We were then able to offer it to anybody, you know, regardless of what level they were at. That made it a lot easier. But before then, it was difficult to attract people for the sessions. I think one of the other things is when you mention webcams to people, because there are people who are familiar with them, but I'd say there are a lot of people who are not familiar with webcam, the technology. So I think when we as advisors introduce the idea of a webcam session, some people were put off. You talk about a webcam and the computer, and they panic a bit, especially if their IT skills are not particularly they're not that confident using the computer. So I think in a way it has to be, when you talk about the webcam sessions, I think you have to talk more about what they're going to get out of the session rather than the actual use of the technology, just because it can put some people off.
I think what would work well is if we had bilingual independent advice and guidance workers at hand. This would help different nationalities more than anything else. With them not having English as a first language, it could actually be a communication barrier there. I think another way forward would be to have independent advice and guidance from home. If clients have got the equipment, it would be a good idea to actually deliver this service, but where they do it from home. But obviously you'd have to be IT literate to be able to do that. Another way forward would be to look at the age criteria. I know Prospects doesn't deliver independent advice and guidance to 16 plus. You have to be over the age of 20. But I feel that it would be a good way forward if the age criteria would be lifted, because there are students that are at the age of 16 who actually do need independent advice and guidance. And I think the way how this pilot scheme is delivered, they would be more eager to participate than some of the older clients that we have. And in that, with the 16-year-olds, because IT is a subject at school, they will be IT literate. I think the qualification barrier should also be lifted, because although you've got level 2 and above, you know, we can't really accept clients that are level 2 and above, but sometimes it actually works out that some clients who are more educated, are more confused, really do need independent advice and guidance. They do need to be guided in which way forward, because they might have more options, and sometimes it can get quite confusing. In terms of actually travelling to a location, I think another way forward would be to actually provide travel care assistance. This would benefit the project. And also looking at the childcare aspects, I think some women who desperately would like to gain jobs find that it's actually difficult to attend interviews or, you know, to receive independent advice and guidance at a different organisation because of the fact that they don't have any childcare.
I think it might be a good idea. When we did the training day initially, we met up with various different groups that were going to be involved in the pilot, and everybody introduced themselves, so we got a bit of information about who everybody was. I think at this stage it would be good to meet up with everybody and just find out, so we can all find out from each other, you know, what their experience has been, you know, so far, and see what they've learned from it, just so that we can compare.
I think, you know, apart from the project having, through our eyes, it has been successful. It has been supported quite a good number of our clients, or non-eligible clients that we work with. It's a very excellent piece of work. I think if this doesn't take off in the next couple of years, others would no doubt deliver these, you know, services. It's a service that is, you know, moving with 21st century. It'll you know, be around for a while. I would certainly make recommendation to others who have an IT equipment or have the knowledge and understanding of IT with their room, to be able to set up the systems and interview clients. Apart from that, we've had a wonderful experience through this pilot. So I'll move on, see if Shabana can perhaps include anything else.
I agree with that. I do believe it's a very good service, and like Ahmed says, I believe that it is part of the 21st century and it is going to be around for a long time. If it wasn't for Prospect and Next Steps, some other organisation would have definitely got their hands on and delivered the pilot scheme. In that, like Ahmed says, there is a need for an IT literate person to be able to deliver the programme. Also, there would be a need for room space, and also you'd have to look at the client group as well to make sure that there is a client group in place who does need to access a service like this.
I think it might be useful to, because it was a pilot for 3 months, is to have some sort of awareness about what's going to happen after the pilot. Because obviously, from our point of view, if we've got people interested in the webcam, having the sessions, it might, it has, I think, generated interest, and it would be useful just to know where we can go from here.
Hello, Rob. Can you hear me?
Yes, Johanne, you okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I've Glennis Smith here, who's going to do a video conferencing session with you.
Okay then. Thank you for that. I'll wait for you to hand her over then.
Okay then. See you later.
Cheers. Hi, Glennis. My name's Johanne Gilroy. How are you?
Hi, Johanne. I'm fine. Are you?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
If I don't know how much Rob's been able to tell you about the webcam pilot and about Next Step. Would it be useful for me just to sort of briefly outline what it's about?
Please, yes, if you don't mind. I don't know that much about it. So
okay, that's fine. That's fine. Basically, Next Step is a information advice service that's funded through the Learning and Skills Council, and it's there to provide information and advice on learning and work to adults who are over the age of 20 and who are yet to achieve a full level 2 qualification. Now, as part of the Next Step delivery in South Yorkshire, the organisation that I work for, Prospects, have a contract to deliver Next Step information and advice. And the link with the Sheffield Teaching Hospital is that basically they are participating in a pilot with us, a pilot project, where we're looking at exploring the use of webcam and video conferencing as an alternative way of providing information and advice. So what I'd like to reassure you is, although you might find it a novel experience having received it through webcam, the quality of the information and advice that we'll provide you with will be exactly the same as if you were seeing us in person, face to face.
Right.
Okay.
It's a very strange experience.
Absolutely.
Never done it before, so yeah, it's very strange.
Well, don't worry. Any questions you've got at all about how to use things or what have you, I'll gladly explain those to you and show you what it is that you need to do. Okay.
That's great, Johanne. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got about half an hour. And during that half an hour, it'll just be a case of trying to find out a bit more about yourself in terms of its relevance to helping you to decide what options you want to take, finding out a bit more about what help and support you require. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Just to explain that during that half an hour, I may take some notes. so that I'm ensuring that I'm focusing on the things that are important to you. And at the end of the appointment, what I'll do is I'll write up an action plan which I'll send to you through this messenger facility that we've got.
That's great.
And then you can print that off, save that onto your own files or onto your own computer. You can print that off. All that we ask is that you then sign and return one of the copies to us. Okay?
I will do, yeah. Is it okay if I make some notes, or do I need
you're fine to make some notes if that's helpful to you and aids your thinking or what have you. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay. What I'll do is just to show you some features of the facility, the sort of messenger facility that you're using, just to help with your own comfort, if you will. The first thing you'll have noticed probably is that you can see yourself in a box.
I'm trying not to look.
Okay. Well, on the right-hand side, there's what looks like a green icon bar. You'll see on the right-hand side of your image, there's like a green kind of indication bar. It's,
right, I can see it now. It's moving.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can adjust that. You can either turn it down, so I probably sound a little bit quieter there and a bit louder there because I've just messed about with my volume indicator. So you can do that just for your own comfort, if you will, in terms of volume levels. The other thing that you can do is you can change the size of the image. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see what looks like a downward arrow. A downward triangle. Yeah. Okay. If you click on there, and if you go to size, can you see that?
I'm doing it. Yes, I found it.
And if you've gone to size, you can see you've got different options from small, medium, large, and full screen.
Ah, that's lovely. Yeah.
So you can mess around with the size of the image if you want to. But so that's just a couple of things that I'll show you just to help you out. And the other thing I'll show you is at the very top of the screen there, you'll see something that says send files.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Have you ever used email at all?
I have.
Okay, so very similar to email. When you're attaching a document, that facility enables me to send you information and for you to receive information, and vice versa. So that if during our discussion, if there's any information that I think it would be useful for you to have, I'll send it to you using that facility.
Right, lovely. Thanks, Johanne.
Do you have any questions at all?
Yeah, just a couple of things really. I'm doing this for myself.
Yep.
But also, I have a group of students who are from long-term unemployed backgrounds.
Yep.
And from disability backgrounds, and I'm just wondering, I'm looking at it as well just to see if it's going to be useful for them.
Okay, well,
once they've been through the programme with me. So I'm looking at it from two ways, really. Okay,
well, I hope by providing you with, hopefully by providing you with the help and support that you need, that will, give you some indication of how useful your clients will find it. Okay,
definitely.
But that's enough talking from me. What help and support can I provide you with? Okay, so we're coming towards the end of our appointment now, and as I said, I'd summarise what we've discussed in terms of your options on an action plan. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send that through to you along with the next step client form which you filled in before you came for this appointment. Okay?
That's right, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to send that through to you now. Just bear me one moment. Just been working on that. Okay. What I'll do is I'm going to send that to you as what they call an Adobe PDF document.
Right, okay, thanks.
Which I'll send through to you. Okay. I'm just converting that into a PDF document now. Okay. Okay, it's just converting it at my end now. Okay, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll just save that here. This action plan. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll send that through to you now. Just bear me a moment. Just find it on here. There we go. Okay. Can you just accept?
Yeah,
You got that document there? Can you just accept it for me?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Okay. Just see if that's coming through to you.
Yeah. Action plan.
Yeah. Okay. Can you just click on that just to?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can just. Has it come up on your end? Okay. Have you accepted it?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Alright, brilliant. Yeah, it's coming through to you now. Okay, yep. 95, 90, 77, 70.
It moves quick.
It does move quick. It does move quick. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll just ask you to just open that at your end just to make sure that it's the right document there that you've received at your end, that you've got the next step client form and action plan. Is that what you've got in front of you there?
That's right, yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's great.
Fantastic.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I hope you found that useful. As I say, if you want to record some video feedback, that would be much appreciated. You don't have to.
I don't mind at all.
Oh, thank you. That would be great.
I don't mind.
And if you speak to Rob, he'll explain to you how you can do that. I know you said you haven't got time to do it right now, but maybe if you can do it maybe on another occasion, at your flexibility, that'll be fine. Okay then.
No, I don't mind doing it. Thank you.
Okay then. As I say, on the action plan, you've got our contact telephone number. So if you want any follow-up appointment or what have you, then do let me know.
Yeah, and we'll sort this meeting out.
Yeah.
Shall I email you that one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
okay
that's
then.
Great.
All right then.
All
Thank
right
you.
then. Thanks, Johanne. Thanks very much for your help.
Okay,
Bye.
cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I've been working as an advisor for about a year now. I just finished my MVQ, and I'm offering advice through the Next Step contract in Sheffield. I mostly do that via the webcam, but I also do some face-to-face work as well. Well, it's broadened the range of clients that I've got access to. Effectively, there's a number of clients out there who are either unwilling to come into the office here, or they're unable to due to the public transport situation where they live. And it means that we can get in touch with those people and offer them the help and advice that they need, without us having to physically leave the office here. So it means we can do it a lot more efficiently and effectively. We can still provide the information in a paper format for them, either doing that by post or we can email it while we're doing the session. But it means that they have access to us and we can access them without the time constraints of having to arrange face-to-face visits with them. I think the most positive aspect of the pilot has been the partnerships that we've developed with the organisations that we're working with. They've been very, very positive and enthusiastic about the whole project, so that's been good. The technologies work well. The odd glitch here and there, but generally the webcams have performed very well, and the feedback from the clients has been fantastic. So it's been a very good project overall. Well, I think generally everything's worked very well. The only thing that I've identified maybe as an area which could be improved is when dealing with clients whose English language skills are maybe not quite as developed as they might be. I think in those circumstances using a translator may be useful, as I think there's often some sort of difficulty. It creates an extra barrier, if you like, in discussions with those particular clients, and I think it's a barrier that can be broken down. It's just that we'd have to have a think, I think, about how we might take that one forward. I think another resource that might have been useful in this project would be perhaps introducing the clients to the use of webcam before they actually sit online with an advisor. So perhaps providing them with an introductory CD-ROM with clips on showing how the webcam interview will progress, which buttons they need to click on, what to do if things go wrong. That sort of thing would be a useful step, I think, in encouraging clients to use the service, and also giving them a bit of confidence before actually speaking to an advisor. Nothing major. I think it's been a very, very valuable project, and one which is potentially going to open a lot of doors for clients who might not otherwise have access to the service. Potentially people in prisons, I think, would be a big area, that people with disabilities, people who are unable to leave their house as well, potentially could always be seen via a webcam interview. I think there's also potential for mock interviews as well. There's a lot of areas where I think that it could prove useful, but it's been a very, very valuable exercise for me, and I think we've helped a lot of people through it. So it's been very good.
The help and support I was looking for was as Programme Manager for the Regional Employability Project. I wanted to look at the webcam for the next group and to use either before the start on the programme or to use, when they were near the end of the programme. I think we've decided that it needs to be used before the start. And I also was actually interested for myself, just really to look at what opportunities there were outside of the Trust.
Just looking at how I could develop in my current role. I've only been here a short time, but I quite enjoy it so far, and I like the idea of teaching and training. That appeals to me.
Really, this was to help to see if I was going in the right direction for the type of career I want to advance to, or the kind of development I wanted to make, which is into office manager.
I was looking really to see what I might be able to do after I've retired in 1 year's time. Something probably that's not as strenuous as the job I'm already doing, i.e. it could be something in research, data collection, or something like outreach sister, just giving advice to nurses in emergency situations for the prevention of patients being admitted to intensive care. In the long run, that would be a money-saving job.
The help and support I received was excellent, absolutely excellent. It showed me the pathways external to the Trust.
Well, I told him initially that I would like to explore this avenue, and so he picked up on that and sort of went down that route for me. He looked at different courses that were on offer at college, university, etc.
And this was good. After explaining a few of the things that I'd done in the past and what I wanted to do in the future, he was able to come up with some advice on the way he thought I should go, which were quite helpful.
I received quite a few different options really of maybe going into the private sector, retire first, and then looking at something like Thornbury, Claremont, or any private hospitals, just maybe to do 2 days a week.
Johanne obviously knew his stuff, he was very knowledgeable, and I didn't realise what opportunities, as I said before, that there were out there.
Yeah, I think if you were looking to do some further training, and if that's what you wanted, yes, you could. It was very useful because it gave me ideas that I hadn't thought of before, and avenues that I might explore.
It was good. It was the things that he said were some of the things I'd already done anyway, which showed we were on the same line of thought. So the things he suggested was very good because I had not really thought of them seriously, So it's given me something to think about.
I thought the help was very well thought out and very considerate and very good.
The webcam awareness session, I liked it. It was really useful. Said Johanne knew what he was talking about, and it far exceeded what I'd expected.
I like it because it's interactive and it's a one-to-one session, and he actually accesses information there and then and sends it to you, and you can read it or you can take it away and have a copy of it for yourself to read later.
It is quite good in the fact that you settle down and it is as if you're in a room with someone. The information that I needed, he was able to get quite quickly and send that on, so that was helpful, and have that now so I can look through that well. So I didn't feel pressured to think, oh, I've got to look at everything there. I know I can do that in my own time.
Oh, I thought that was fantastic actually. That's the first time I've ever done that, and it just felt as if I were talking to somebody in the same room. It was very good.
I did feel though that I'd looked at the screen too long. My eyes were aching and I've ended up with an headache afterwards, so it was just a long time to be staring at a screen. Maybe I should have looked at the camera, but I didn't.
There was a bit of an echo on the technical side. When I was talking I could hear myself. That was a bit off-putting, and it did affect my communication, because when you hear yourself it just distracts you. So if that could be a bit better, I'm not sure what could be done about that.
Not much to dislike really. No, I found it okay.
Oh no, there's nothing I disliked about that. It was fantastic.
There was nothing else that I'd like to have added. It was really good.
No, I think the next stage is just looking through all the information and seeing if it's useful. I did like the summary that he gave at the end, because when people give advice you just need to take it in, and you also need to remember what advice you've been given. So it's a good way of remembering.
No, I don't think so. I think it was pretty okay, the information that I had.
I don't think so, not at this time. I think that's been quite adequate really.
There was nothing else that I'd like to have added. It was really good. The other comments and suggestions I've got, just that it's really excellent. I'll definitely recommend it to other people. And I think maybe, I don't know how we can advertise it, but it'd be really good if we could advertise it.
The session took half an hour in total, which I think was long enough really, but I suppose it depends on the situation. It was good that he offered further advice sessions if I wanted it, because I think it's the sort of thing that you have to take away, think about, read up on, and then if you want any other help or any other information, or you think of something else, you can then go to him, and he offers his services again too.
The only thing I would say was that initially it was a little bit difficult to know what to say, so maybe a prompt would be good at the beginning, because once I asked him what he wanted me to say and he said background things and so on, then that was quite easy. But initially it's a little bit embarrassing, because he's waiting for you to say something and you're not quite sure what to say, so maybe a little bit of a prep in that area would be quite good. But no, that's all I think. We had opportunities to question each other and offer suggestions and say whether we like them or not.
I can't think of anything at the moment, but if I do, I'll get back to you.